Disky lovers, welcome back to it. Football on 216. And I promised you a good guest. I promised you the goods. Well, speaking of goods, I've been given quite a bit of goods then for breakfast from FUTURELIFE. I don't know what I'm going to pick to have, but I do have Miss Bianca Jonischkeit to thank for that. She joins us on this segment on Football on 216. She chats about how you athletes can use nutrition to elevate your game. So I'd like to think that this segment of the show, not only for our football stars, if you play rugby, if you run, if you just want to remain fit, I think this can be of good use to you. She joins me along with Coach Coscarino of Rio de Janeiro. In fact, it feels a bit like I'm in Europe, right? Because we know you from Rio, and then she has German descent, so it feels a bit like I'm in a different place. But Miss Bianca, good evening. So happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me on the show this evening.
Firstly, maybe you could just speak us through your background, nutrition. When did you study it? Why nutrition and how?
So, like you said, my name is Bianca, and I've always been passionate about nutrition. I love the idea how you can use it to elevate your sports performance. I love how life revolves around food and eating. We often have Sunday lunches with our families where we're sitting together and we're eating the food. Life really revolves around what we eat, how we eat it, when we eat it, and we can really use it to improve our health, improve our performance, and that's essentially why I studied it. So I went to the University of Pretoria. I then did my community service in Vosloorus, where I did work with some young children. Yes. So where I worked with young children all the way through to adults, just help them really use nutrition to guide their lifestyles. I'm just really, really passionate about food, nutrition, and how we can use it to benefit ourselves.
Nice. I hear the passion about nutrition and about food. Tell me what your favorite sport is, Bianca. Do you watch sports? What's your favorite sport?
So I do love watching sport. So my favorite sport to play is netball, and I love to run, and I've also started boxing now, which is really exciting. Okay. And then I really love to watch all kinds of sports. I love watching the football. The Premier League was quite intense. And the FA Cup actually this weekend.
Who do you support?
I support Everton. I am
okay, that's a nice one.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, not your mainstream team. But nonetheless, I love watching it. I love watching any kind of sports, from goal, football, rugby, tennis, anything really to watch is quite,
nice.
I enjoy.
So Bianca, welcome to the show again.
Thank you.
I'm Cosca by profession, and I'm from Rio de Janeiro. So I'm bringing the Ballon d'Or from Brazil. It's going via Germany. Since you guys have 7 Ballon d'Ors, I'm not going to tolerate that. So it's going to go via there and not stay and come to Africa.
So it's going to go via Germany.
It has to
lay over. We lay over in Germany.
For sure. But your Beckenbauers and your Mullers had their chance. So now we have to bring it back home. For sure. No. What I'd like to know, Bianca, on your side is that you are a nutrition expert, right? So I'm a coach at a development academy. So, and since I'm a coach, I'm curious about now, maybe one of the coaches is watching and they're very curious as to now we're bringing nutrition into the picture. Some of us are not even affording these things, you understand? So how can me as a coach stimulate my players in terms of these nutritional benefits that we have to incorporate in the players' diets or not?
Well, firstly, well done on your sports development and coaching. I love that, developing from a young age all the way through to the child getting older. So nutrition is really important in youth or younger athletes. Not only does it help with performance, but children still need to grow and develop. So we still need to make sure that they meet their milestones, have proper nutrition so that they aren't shorter statured, that they reach puberty on time. We need to ensure that when training, when doing exercise, our body requires more energy, more nutrients. We need to make sure that we fuel the body, that we replace all that energy that's used, so that that energy can then ultimately also help with growth and development of the young athlete. Like you also mentioned, prices I think for everyone is a big thing at the moment, and foods are expensive. So we really need to focus on affordable foods and meals that these children can have. A very underrated product, I think, is a peanut butter sandwich. Something as simple as a peanut butter sandwich. Yeah, a nice amount of protein, a nice amount of carbohydrates. It's quick, it's easy. You can make it the night before. You can grab and eat. Some of the FUTURELIFE products as well. If you buy in bulk, so the FUTURELIFE Smart Food, which provides you essentially with 1.5 slices of bread and 1 egg, and 50% of your micronutrient requirements. If you buy the bulk pack, it works out to around $4.20 a meal, which can be affordable. It can be worked into a family's budget.
That's nice.
Essentially for
$4.20. Wow,
Yeah.
Tando. I didn't even think of that.
Tell me though, Bianca, I know we speak about this amazing brand, FUTURELIFE, and the energy that it gives you, but some of these kids and the clubs particularly that involved in the league that we do, like Coach said, can't afford it, right? So what makes FUTURELIFE stand out then? Why FUTURELIFE is an energy building substance as opposed to peanut butter?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at FUTURELIFE, we use smart nutrition. So we have a team of dietitians. We have a team of people that work in developing a well-balanced product. It's also really convenient. So you can mix it as a shake if you don't have time. Time is a big thing.
Yeah.
You're getting to training really early or later in the afternoon. You finish school, you go to training, then you have matches on the weekend. When am I actually supposed to take the time to make food, sit and make the food? So you can take it, it's convenient, you can buy it in a pre-packaged sachet, you can pre-portion it for yourself. It also has added micronutrients inside, which then maybe gives it a one-up on, say, for instance, the peanut butter sandwich. So you're getting supplemented with 50% of your micronutrient requirements in a 50-gram serving.
But then something that I've always seen, and this thing especially said with the big guys at the gym, that's why I don't gym, I won't lie, Bianca, because I'm in the gym and the guys are big and then always they chugging a protein shake, guju. So tell me that intaking a protein shake immediately after sex, what value does, I'm trying to see what here it says here, high protein shake, what value does a protein shake have to the game?
Yes. So a post-nutrition shake or supplement that people often have is really important for that recovery. We want to give back what we've basically used in the session or in the game. So protein, and contrary to popular belief where everyone thinks it's just protein, we need protein and carbohydrates. So carbohydrates is our body's main source of energy, and if we don't replace that energy, our body can't actually use the protein for muscle growth and development. So you basically want to replace those carbohydrates that you've now used. The shake is a very easy and convenient way in doing that because it has 16 grams of protein and 16 grams of carbohydrates as well in the high protein shake. So you're replacing those carbohydrates, which means you're less fatigued, you can carry on with your everyday processes, and then you're giving yourself the protein as well. So that really helps with the muscle growth, muscle development, repairing the muscle then. So they work in combination. We don't ever use one nutrient as more powerful or has a bigger advantage than the other nutrient, because they all work in harmony within our bodies.
Okay. So now I'm fascinated now. Now you're talking about these proteins and you actually, the FUTURELIFE offers more of it. So now my question comes here. Age-wise, if I'm coaching maybe 6 to 13-year-olds compared to 15-year-olds to 19-year-olds, like what sort of like nutrition can you suggest to these boys or girls?
Yes. So age also impacts largely on our protein requirements, our energy requirements. So protein should be between 10 and 30% of the total energy intake. Which is a little bit complicated, but as we grow older, I think the easiest way to put it is as we grow older, because they're still growing, they require more energy. So for instance, 4 to 6-year-olds will have very different energy requirements between a 16 and an 18-year-old. So 16 and 18-year-old will have higher energy requirements, which means they'll essentially have higher protein requirements than, say, a 4 to 6-year-old child.
Okay.
So that will be different in terms of age. They also have puberty comes in differently with each age group, especially between boys and girls, and that slightly impacts that as well. But I think what's important to remember is that we want to feed these children appropriately for their age, and we want to ensure that they increase their energy requirements, increase their protein requirements as they get older.
Oh, okay. So sorry, Tandomen. Something on my mind just popped up now. So does the Shisanyama work against me? As a coach.
So maybe a quarter, but not. The Shisanyama again can be part of a balanced diet.
Okay.
We work around having balance, not an excess of something, and not depriving ourselves of something else.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, as long as it's not an everyday thing, Shisanyama is essentially dried meat.
Yeah.
It's really protein.
We
It's
bride.
protein.
No, we bride this weekend.
Yeah.
We bride.
Your nyama.
No, I'm winning. The results are coming. I have FUTURELIfe now.
Yeah, exactly. So braaiing is essentially a healthier way of preparing meat. So it's not deep frying or anything like that.
Right.
So braaiing the nyama is quite a nice way to prepare the meat. Again, you're not going to be having it all day, every day. We can go for maybe leaner pieces of red meat or some chicken on the braai and have a bit of a balance, especially if you are, for instance, having Shisanyama 2 or 3 times a week, then you can just change the type of
Please
protein
don't forget
source.
the voice on that.
Yeah, the voice. And again, I mean, as long as you're not having the whole roll of vors, you're just having a piece of vors, then it's really not a problem. And the same with the pap. Pap is in our culture, it's our food. You can't leave it out of your diet. Pap is as important as bread or in the same level as bread. So pap with your diet is really not a problem. It's the amount of pap that we eat.
Yeah.
Obviously, if we're having a plate of pap like this, we will gain some weight. But if we're having pap in a controlled amount with the nyama, with some chakalaka, then it can really be balanced out.
Bianca, we're speaking so much about, your orthodox healthy foods, your pap, your chisanyama. What about sweets? Because these are kids. It's important to remember that some of these kids we deal with are 12, 11, 10. How much sweets can the kids have? I see here there's a bar, right? But what about sweets? Maynard, Jelly Baby, something with sugar. What about that as a part of the diet?
So again, it can be incorporated into a healthy lifestyle. If 80% of your lifestyle you're focusing on including enough vegetables, enough meat, enough starches, you can still, there's some leeway to have sweets. And like you said, they're children. When we were children, we had sweets. It's just, again, preventing the excess of sweets. Sweets are also, if we go back to a football match, which is 90 minutes for obviously the older kids, sweets are a good way to give that spike of energy, especially halftime, to kind of replace those carbohydrates that they've lost in the first.
Enough time?
Yes.
Thank you, Bianca.
Yeah.
Thank you. No. I have Bianca now. Yeah. So we sorted. Winds are coming.
Yeah. And not all the time, and not too many, and sweets with fluids. So sweets with your water at halftime. Again, test it out in training sessions. Make sure their gut is comfortable with it. You don't want a child on the field and then all of a sudden they're getting cramps and then they can't actually play the game. And then again, just limit it to 4 or 5 jelly babies, like you said, with some water. Then that fuels them at least for the next half of the game. They can have that FUTURELIFE high energy bar as well. There's some electrolytes in there, some fast release carbohydrates. So I don't know if you guys have heard about GI before. I'm sure you've seen it somewhere.
No, not yet. We are hearing it
for the first time. Okay, so maybe some of the watchers of the show have heard about GI. So a GI, or the glycemic index, sounds complicated, but all it essentially means is how quickly the energy is released into your body. So for instance, a sweet is a high GI food, so it releases the energy quickly. So you need that during the game, during halftime. And then a low GI food releases the energy slower. So post-workout, post-training, post-match, then you have, for instance, the peanut butter sandwich again, which is a lower GI, which gives you sustained energy to basically prevent this fatigue. I know you mentioned earlier you often play two matches over a weekend, a
Yeah.
tournament, and then by providing that lower GI food after the first game, basically ensures that they have sustained energy for the rest of the evening to recover before the next game, before the next match.
Proper. That's proper.
Bianca, you heard in our earlier segment that we also have young ladies that are playing football and doing very well in football, right?
Yeah.
I just want you to explain to me what the difference between a diet and nutrition is, right? Because my mom used to diet, and no offense, mom, I'm not trying to diet. Like, I'm not trying to go on a diet, right? So I need to understand, and for these ladies watching this to understand too, is what we're talking about now a diet that my mom is on, or what's nutrition actually, Bianca?
So I'm very passionate about this. So a diet has a very negative connotation, and my big philosophy is if you can follow this lifestyle every day for the rest of your life until you die, then you can do it. If you can't do it, it shouldn't be something that you consider, because there are some crazy restrictive diets which we obviously don't want female athletes to partake in. Remember, female athletes also, they menstruate, they grow. We need to ensure that we have sufficient nutrients before they get to older athletes. So we really want to make sure that they're fueling their bodies in the right way so they can perform correctly, they can train properly, they can you can prevent this fatigue, you can prevent illnesses like the common cold, all of that. You really want these women just to follow a nutritious, balanced lifestyle and eating behaviors. Yeah, that's really the difference.
Just another question from my side. We had a chat earlier about hydration. So I just maybe want you to maybe dive into that, because you tell these kids to come with water bottles, and then they don't.
They never come.
Yeah. So how important is water in this game?
So an interesting fact, which I think I'll start off with, is even a 2% dehydration in an individual can completely affect their performance. So that's a small 2% of dehydration. 2% of dehydration
Now I know.
can affect your performance.
Hey, Coach, it's out Rowan.
Now I know. Don't be personal, Baba.
Sfiso comes to games without water. You tell him all the time that you come with water to commentate.
No, water is of utmost importance, and I think the important part is just making it normal, not only focusing on halftime or match time, but adequate hydration and fluid intake before matches, during training. Your body is also very impressive. The more you drink, the more it kind of wants or craves.
Really?
So people say, oh, I really don't like water, but the more you drink, the more your body wants it. Your body needs this water for improved performance, preventing fatigue. Especially, we live in Africa. We've got a much warmer climate to other, maybe not Brazil or
Germany.
in summer, but we really have a really warm climate. So we need to replace all the fluids that we lose. Remember, we sweat when we exercise, when we perform, and we need to replace that. That's a big indication of, you can see that the water's essentially leaving my body and I need to replace it. And that's sometimes how you can explain it to these younger athletes, because why must I drink water? They really like to understand why, not just because my coach says, but because it can help me with my performance.
No,
it will make me feel
I'm starting to act as an
better.
example now. I'm always getting a stick that you need to drink water every time. Now I'm drinking water. Can you please fetch me water?
Bianca, thank you so much for coming here on Football on 216. Maybe you could give us just some final concluding remarks. What advice can you give finally to these athletes? Diet-wise, nutrition-wise, we said we're throwing away diet. No diet, mama. Hey, please, my lady. No diet. We're throwing away diet, nutrition. What last advice can you give for the young boys and girls watching this?
I think nutrition is important in all aspects. So pre-game, pre-training, during matches, and post-recovery as well. So nutrition plays a role in all three factors, and it can really help improve performance. And it doesn't have to be complicated. We can go back to simplicity. We can prepare before. We have the FUTURELIFE on-the-go products that we can use. Nutrition doesn't have to be complicated. It can be easy. It can be adjusted to your needs, your taste buds. And don't forget hydration. I think is another important
I think
factor.
also it reduces, it also plays a role in terms of reduces injuries, right?
Yes.
Yeah, oh, nice, okay.
Yeah, we can chat for forever.
Yeah.
So good nutrition really can
Fascinating.
prevent injuries, prevent illnesses, prevent fatigue. Again, if we're not nourishing our bodies, how do you expect them to perform? That's when we will get injuries. If we're not resting, if we don't have the correct nutrition, we really can cause some injuries.
Sure.
With lastly then, Miss Bianca, where can people get the product? Where is it available and how?
So the FUTURELIFE products are in major retail stores, so if you can just add it to your shopping basket.
Yeah.
We also have our FUTURELIFE website, which is really fun and interactive. You can order your products there. It gets delivered to your house or to your academy or wherever you would like the products. So very simple and easy to get your hands on.
Nice.
Well, we promised you on Football on 216 in the first episode, we set out to make bold claims that we'd bring the Ballon d'Or to South Africa. And you see it, we're doing it step by step. Nutrition, it's affordable, it's available, and you can do it your way. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on Football on 216. Coach, thank you, man. We're not going to have your segment this time around. This sort of replaced that. So I do thank you for your time once again, and all the best for your games on the weekend.
Thanks a lot, my brother. This is a segment and a half. Now I know what to do when I go back. First and foremost, water, and then we go and replenish that lost fluids in the body.
Yeah, Ms. Bianca, thank you so much also for your time and your insights and your intelligence. But I did tell you that I'm going to ask you for one small flavor at the end. Favor at the end. I'm going to ask you to look into that camera. I think that camera belongs to you. You're going to say the following, and it's going to link us to the break directly. You linking us. So you're going to say, Maumnandi football on 216. So Maumnandi football on 216. We go to the next segment, right?
Perfect.
So that's your cam.
I'm going to give it a go.
Bianca.
Thank you. Maumnandi football on 216.
Maumnandi. Let's go to the break and bring the full squad back and hear what they have to say about Bianca's nandiness.